Okay, this is going to be a really quick and dirty rundown of how I make um, patterns for sewing based on existing models. I'm not going to go over making a model or anything. Um, I'm also not really going to teach you Blender. All you need to know is how to move around and navigate a 3D space in Blender, and I'll kind of explain everything else to you. And genuinely, learning how to navigate in a 3D space is the hardest part of learning Blender. Once you know that, it's pretty easy to do anything in here. You can just follow tutorials and stuff. Anyway, I'm going to start by, obviously I'm going to delete everything here because I don't need it. I'm pressing A to select everything, or I can, use this box select and just delete it. And I'm going to be importing a model I downloaded from Modeler's Resource, and they're usually .day files, at least for like Pokemon rips anyway. Let's do, maybe I'll do Mudbray. No, I'm gonna do Parasect because he's a funky little guy. And we stand a funky little guy. Okay. First off, when you import a model, these are bones. And this is your mesh, your main boy. You can use these bones. If you select it, make sure you're in object mode when you select it. And if you select it, you can go into pose mode and you can kind of like move them around. You could use this to pose things. It's a little funky with these guys. I'm not gonna bother with that. I'm going to go back to object mode. I'm just going to ignore this armature entirely. In fact, I just delete it. And I don't know. Oh, never mind. I'm not going to delete it. That leaves me a bunch of stuff, but whatever. I'm just going to select his mesh, press the P key. Oh, no, wait, sorry. Press M to move it, and I'm just going to make a new collection, and it's going to be Parasect. You don't have to do this. This is just me doing things for organization, because now all of my armature stuff is in this collection, and I can just hide it and forget it exists. And Parasect is in the Parasect box, as he should be. Um, well, basically what I do is you will select your mesh, make sure he's your main highlighted object here, and you can press the tab key to go into edit mode, or you can go over here and go into edit mode. And what we're going to do is we're going to use all of these points and edges, these are our main boys here, edges, to basically create a seam, like as if you would, like imagine where you would put seams for a stuffed animal. If you want to make this guy a stuffed animal, where would you put the seams? um that's 90% of this whole thing. Is it's If it works out, it's because you had good seam placement. So obviously looking to real life examples of stuffed animals, it's a very good idea. I have like very little knowledge of sewing, so I just kind of do whatever, print a little thing, make a tiny one out of some scrap fabric, and if that's not working out, or even just cutting it out and I think matching the pieces sucks, I'll go back into Blender and redo all of this bit. Um, so, let's see. He does have a bit of an intersection here. I'm going to inspect this model real quick. Okay, what I might do, just to make things easier on me, is because, he has his big mushroom top, and then here's his body. And, there's a little bit of his body that goes into the mushroom top, just, so that you don't see the little holes between there, and that's just standard 3D modeling stuff. What I'm going to do is I'm going to maybe cut using this big mushroom piece. I'm gonna use the big mushroom piece to cut the part that we're not seeing out. That way I don't have any extra fabric that's gonna go into my thing. So, if you want to select a whole object, especially if it's a linked object, like you can select some parts of it. Mostly you just gotta hover your mouse over it and you can press L and that will select linked. Or you could probably do select linked, linked. And I'm going to move this to a separate object so that I can use a Boolean modifier. To move it, I think I can probably do mesh separate selection. It is now in this piece here. I'm going to call it mushroom, just so that we can know what we're doing. And here's Parasect, obviously. So normally you won't have to do this with most things. He's just got a little bit of an overlap, and that makes things funky wonky. Um, on my Parasect, I believe, I'm going to go to this little gear thing, and I don't need this armature at all. I'm deleting that armature modifier. I'm going to add a modifier, and I'm going to add a boolean. I might actually need to add this to the mushroom. Hold on. Let me just... Okay, no. Okay, that's fine. Well, oh, but then it cuts his eyes off a little bit if I do that. Never mind. Okay, I will do that, but first... I need to move his little eyeballs just a little bit further away. You know what? I'm going to select all of these parts that are touching this mushroom because I don't want these to get cut up by the mushroom. I only want this body place to get cut up by the mushroom. So I'm going to select these and move the mesh. Oh god, where is it? Select. Oh god. I use keyboard shortcuts for most of this, but I think it'd be mesh. Separate, there we go. By selection. I usually use keyboard shortcuts, but I'm going to avoid doing that because it can differ based on your setup. I have to emulate a 3-button mouse because I use a tablet pen and I have a tiny mic, tiny keyboard, blah, blah, blah. Anyway, here's Parasect's head. And now that that's out of the way, because, you know, it clips with his mushroom here, and I'm going to use this mushroom to cut off the extra parts of his body, but I don't want it to cut his head off, or any little bits of his head. So that's why I separated that. Now I'm going to, on the Parasect main body, I'm going to try, I think this will do it. Yeah, okay, we're going to go to Boolean. This basically will fuse or cut things based on your settings, and I'm going to Boolean the mushroom. And you can, sometimes it doesn't, like, work if it's on exact. Try fast if it's not working. But, basically what this is doing is, you know, all that extra body piece we just saw, it's now cut away based entirely on this mushroom. So, I've cut this away, and this is a modifier, so it hasn't affected the actual mesh yet. I can straight up turn this off, and it will still be there. I'm going to tell it to apply. There, now the actual mesh has been edited. And because yeah, I don't need these vertices in here. They'll just confuse us. I'm going to delete them. So you can use the point select or the edge select. I'm going to delete those. And now I have a completely separate mushroom. You know, like this is how it would meet up in sewing. You would have your seams here. You'd have a little bit of, you know, seam allowance, but there. So here's his head. I might do the same thing with his head and body. But I'm not going to bother. There's already a hole in his mesh, so it's okay. Anyway, that's most of that. For most Pokemon models, I haven't had to do that yet. Like, mess with Booleans or anything. Anyways, I can join these back together, or you can leave them separate. It doesn't matter. Actually, it's easiest if you join them together. So, I'm selecting all three of these, and I think it's Control-J. Yeah, that will join them all back together. You could probably go to Object, Join. Yes, Control-J. Okay, so now I've got my big boy here. This is the part where I check if I have to cut any bits out. This guy doesn't have any complex markings, so I don't have to cut anything out at all. I don't have to edit the geometry, like, period, surprisingly, unless I wanted to fully mark these. I'll show you how to do that anyway. Like, for example, with Girafarig or Buizel, Buizel's face markings are not in the do not follow these lines that the geometry does, but I would want a seam where the orange meets the yellow. So pretending this is orange and this is the yellow part of a Buizel, I would just do this so that I can have my proper face seams to be able to use. Oh, and this is the knife tool. down here, you have to be in edit mode. Make sure you're in edit mode. And you just kind of can click around and it'll cut things. And you have to press the enter key to make it apply. And that will just add to your geometry. And, you know, if you need to add seams or markings for certain, like, different fabric colors, that's the way to do it. Because you have to have geometry wherever you want a seam to be for your sewing project. So I'm going to ignore his mouth too. I will do that with embroidery floss or something. So a little bit of thread sculpting maybe. But also, because he's completely symmetrical, I'm going to delete half of his model using this. I want to be in point edit mode, and I'm turning X-ray mode on so that I can easily select all one half of him in one go and delete that. You know, this is just so that I only have to unwrap half of him and I don't have to do the whole thing. And from here, I will actually start showing the actual seam part. I usually use this edge tool when I'm doing it. And what you're going to be doing is, oh god, I don't know where to put the seams for this on this mushroom. So I'll just do oh well, I'm just gonna do it. Well, this will be straight down the middle. That's a seam there. So I'll just put one right here. I'll cut it completely in half. Oh, whoops. I'm shift clicking to select all of these edges, and you don't have to do it all in one go. You can do a couple at a time, but you make a selection, go to edge, mark seam. Marking a seam tells the software how you want it to unwrap. So think of it like a bearskin rug. If you have to color on a bear, and you know you have to do it on a sheet of paper, you have to have it unwrapped. The whole point of making these into plush toy seams is obviously fabric is flat. Edge, mark seam. Anything that is hollow or that has nothing connected to it, like this will automatically be read as a seam to the software. But I'm going to mark it anyway, just so that we can see it. I'm going to also do from here, maybe? I don't really know how to go about making this a nice, smooth, round top thing. I feel like it would have to splay open, kind of like a funky little flower. So, I'm not sure. I'm just gonna leave it. It's gonna look like, if it looks funky if I sew it, then it's gonna look funky if I sew it. If you know what you're doing with like where you want to put darts and sewing patterns, you're good. Like if you have any sewing experience at all more than I have, you're already ahead of me. Let's see. Well, okay, I'm done with that. I'm gonna select it. I'm pressing the H key to hide it. I think I could probably go to mesh or something, or view hide. I don't know, but I just pressed the H key because I don't know the actual where that option is in here. I know it's there somewhere. But anyway, obviously this is a seam. I'm gonna mark it as a seam even though it's probably already marked as a seam anyway. Edge, mark seam. Obviously I have to really zoom in and reach these little tiny close parts. Because if you miss something like this right here, that will throw off your unwrapping. So if it helps, you can merge it with like the M key. You can just select those 2 points and merge them. If you have something going funky when you unwrap it later, you can try and find where that's happening, and you can merge points, or you can just tell the edge to mark seam. Just gonna There, good enough. Double clicking, usually it will, if it has a like a full loop, I mean, sometimes it'll go over into, but if it has a full loop, double clicking it is more than enough. You can just edge, mark seam, and it'll just do the whole thing. It's just when you get like a few Boolean like I did before with this mushroom, that's no longer like all one nice flowing bit to the model, and you have to do it manually. I'm gonna mark this as a seam too, maybe. I imagine that is how you would make him have a slightly chunkier abdomen, would be to put a seam there and do some funky stuff. I'm not sure. Again, you will want to make sure you get all of the polygons that are following along a seam. So like I can't see them here. I'm just gonna select a couple of these, press L. Oh no, wait, they're joined. Oh wait, okay, never mind. This piece here was separate. So his claw here is separate, but that doesn't seem to be the case with this one, so I don't have to do that. But his mushroom is in the way, so I'm going to select a link by hovering my mouse over this, pressing L, and I'm just going to press H and hide it, just because it's very much in my way. I'm probably going to do that with this body piece too. I don't really need to mess with these. I figure if I sew them together, I'm just going to sew right here and not with these little tiny pieces. So I've deleted those. And I will just keep cutting seams. And if I do one leg, these are the same. So if I have this leg already cut, I'm just going to delete that one. And I will just write down how many pieces of this I need. So we'll have 4 legs, so that means I'll need, two each, so I'll have to cut 8 of these. I did a dart here on his face. I've just slapped his eyes in half. I think I will weld his mouth together, maybe. Just so that doesn't throw off my... Yeah, I'm going to delete the inside of his mouth. Just so that it doesn't get in the way of my unwrapping, because it will. I need to delete it if I don't need it on the plush toy. I should probably have used a different example than Parasect, because he's basically just circles and straight lines, and that'd be a very, maybe easy pattern to make here on our own. But, that's what I opened up, so that's what I'm doing here. I only had Buizel and Parasect, and I've already done Buizel. Delete these this way. Yeah, I'm just gonna delete these two. Now I'm gonna tell these to join. I'm sure there's some Blender plugin or other thing that could do this much faster, but I'm still relatively new to Blender. I'm used to doing things manually like this. There. I think that's everything I need for the most part. He's pretty simple. Oh wait, I didn't do this leg. I need to do this leg. Okay, I should have pretty much everything that needs a seam. It should have what it needs. Oh wait, no. I need to do this ring here so that I can make that bottom part black. And then I'm going to unwrap him. Edge. Mark seam. There, okay, I'm going to save this as oops, that's the wrong folder. Whatever. Funky little Parasect. You can go... Oh god. Okay, fine, I won't save it. Okay, that is all of the seams. We're done with that. And I will go to this UV editing tab. If you don't have it, you can do this plus sign here. I don't know why I have a cancel mark as a cursor. Anyway, you can, if you don't have it, you can open one up here probably and go to UV editing. Oh, where's my boy? Oh, there he is. Very large. Okay, I will select all of the points. I've just pressed the A key, just so that I have the entire mesh. Oh, I need to look at his material. Okay, so he has a bunch of materials here. I'm just going to delete all of them. Oh wait, I can't do that in edit mode. I have to be in object mode. And I will delete these, and I'm going to make a new one. And this one's going to be pattern. I don't care. Anyways, I have that. And I'm going to, I'm going into edit mode. Oops, edit mode. Selecting all. I'm assigning this to him. So now this is empty. And obviously this is his default UV map. This isn't really sewing friendly. So I've got this. I have a new material. He's been in edit mode. I've told it to assign to him. And here's all of his original UV mapping. I'm going to, you can also do it from here, or, you know, modeling. You can go to UV unwrap from there too, but I'm going to go to UV unwrap. Oh, actually, I don't need that seam right here for this black piece. I'm going to edge, clear seam. Now I'm going to unwrap them again, because anytime you make a change to your seams, you will have to unwrap it again. So UV unwrap. Oh, oops, wait, did I? Yep, see? Here's a part of his claws that I didn't get all of those edges. So now I've got some overlapping bits here, and I can't work with that. So which claw is that? Here, is that this one? Yeah, that's this one. Whoops. Where's that little bit? Should be down here. A lot of this, yeah, there it is. You will have to, oh no, I just didn't line them up right. Edge, clear seam, edge, mark, seam. There, now I will unwrap again. That looks better. Everything looks pretty good. What is this? This looks like one of these bits here. This bit. It's like this piece? Yes, okay. This needs more of an exaggerated curve to it for if we're sewing that. So this is why you have to have some knowledge of sewing, because UV maps are, I mean, this is perfectly fine for a UV map. But, you know, it would, in reality, it would need to be more like this when we sew it to get this wheelie shape. And unless I've missed a couple pieces on there. Oh wait, what is this? It's like his little ball joint. That might be why it's rounding out so much. Yeah, that'll do it. I'm going to tell that to be a seam. God, this is so hard. Edge. Seam. There, now we're gonna unwrap it again. Wait, everything, if I've got pieces hidden, if they're hidden, they're not gonna update with the unwrap, I think. So I'm unhiding that, selecting all of it. Now I'm gonna unwrap it all. UV. Nope, didn't change it much. I'll still just have to be sure to, you know, exaggerate these like this in the pattern version. Anyways, that's... I've got more overlapping bits here. What is this? That looks like... Is that his mushroom? No. Is that the body? Okay. I've got a piece of the body here that needs... Oh, there it is. Whoopsie. That is going to cause problems. So I'm going to go to this mode and do this. Work seam. I'm going to join that. Looks like there's 2 points there. I'm joining that. Let's see. Anything else? Okay, once again. Unhide everything. Select it all. Whoopsie. Unwrap. That looks better. I think that's good. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to make a new image, and I'm going to make it big because these don't export at like 300 dpi. So I'm going to do best practice for 3D modeling is it has to be a multiple of, I think a multiple of 2 or 5. Anyway, if I want to double this, I'm going to do 2048. If you're not using it for 3D stuff, doesn't matter. You could make it like 57 by 32 if you want. It doesn't matter. But I'm just going to tell that. There we go. There, now it's going to export at least kind of big. And now that I've got this UV map, I'm going to go to UV, export UV layout. And I'm just going to... Where did I put that? Okay, Parasect. That'll export a PNG file. And now I will go back to... I'm just going to go to modeling mode so it's easier to see. But it doesn't really matter what mode you're in, but I'm in object mode. Going down here, this is his materials. And let's see, this is where it says base color. I'm going to use an image texture. I'm gonna, no, wait, nope, I don't need a new one, I need to open one. I'm gonna open that UV map it just exported. And I want it to show me that texture. Okay, so there's our UV map that it exported. Now it's applying to him as the texture image on his body. And as you can see, it's a little dark and kind of hard to see, so I'm gonna edit that in Clip Studio real quick. You know what? Never mind. I'm just gonna do it all in Blender. So here's my UV map. This is what we would use to make our sewing pattern, but I'm gonna go into Texture Paint. And here's our texture. See, this is our UV map it exported. It's kind of transparent. But I'm going to start writing on this guy what is what. Like, this is his mushroom. And this is also the mushroom, because there's the, you know, here's where they'll connect there, like this. Mushroom. And let's just pretend that I want the nap of the fabric to go down. I think that'd be the best position for it, would be down. And I like to draw arrows on it like that. I know there's a seam here. Maybe I can turn off the ground floor from showing up. Floor, yes. Thank you. This is the black bottom part of the mushroom. I'm just going to call it black. And I guess I'll just make the fur go that way, assuming I'm using Minky. This is his... is it the thorax? I'm just going to call it his butt. It's his butt. and I want it to go that way. And this is his chest. And I want the fur to go that way. And if I want to, I can scribble here. It will end up on the leg. You know, like, I can be like, this is where I want his leg to touch or connect. So I'm just gonna scribble around there and say, place leg here. And let's see how that looks on my map here. There it is. His leg is gonna go right here. This is claw. I want it to go down that way. This is claw 1. And the back is going to be claw 2. These are probably almost perfect mirrors. Oh yeah, see, another thing. You'd probably want to cut this like this shape instead. You know, like as you see it, you would cut it in this shape, not this expanded shape that the UV map has generated for us, because then it's gonna, well, it might work, but it might also round it out a little bit. That's where you might tweak things, like you'll get your maybe make your corners more cornery or whatever, or put darts. I don't really know much about darting and other stuff. This is, well, I know this is the leg. It's obvious these are the legs. Whoopsie. Whoops. Leg. Now I want the fur to go this way and that way. Obviously, because this leg is the same on the front and back, I could completely ignore this one and just say leg times 8, flip 2 or something. No, I'm not going to do that. I'm going to leave it as it is. This is also part of the leg. This is his claw leg, but part claw leg. And I know which direction he's facing because I look at UV maps all day of my life, but you guys might not, so. Here's this eye. Is this a good way to do a sphere for an eye? I have no idea. Here's his face. Here's his chin, just, you know, they're all part of one object, but here's the dart. I put a dart around here. There's that face. There you go. See, the dart, I assume would, you know, would be like that. You can see where. And this is a good way to make like little marks for like sewing. I've been doing that a lot. I guess it's kind of like how some people do curves with little triangles on them when they're sewing. But sometimes I'll just like put little marks here and be like, okay, match this with this so that I actually get it going right. That should be, what is this? What did I scribble on? Where's that scribble? Oh, wait, no, that's part of this little round piece in here, isn't it? Yeah, I don't care about that. Frankly, I'm gonna ignore that because it's too small and for me to want to sew. I would just want to use this big piece here. So that's that. This guy's pretty simple to have done. Okay. Now that I've got my little image thing and I've written where I want things to, where the, you know, what's what and where things are, where the nap should go, you know, it updates on this, and it says we have an image that isn't saved. I could save, and that would save over it, or I could save as, you know, Parasect edit, Parasect with text. There, I've saved that as Parasect with text. And that's basically the patterning half done. If you want to size it, you'd have this little menu thing, and you go here, I think. It's this one, I know. This one here. Your scene settings, you can go to units, and you can do imperial and use feet and inches. You can use centimeters, metric and stuff. I'm gonna do inches. Let's just pretend I want to make him well, I mean, his legs aren't going to hold him up. He's going to sploot. So let's say I want him to be 6 inches from where he sits on the ground, or 12 inches rather, from where he sits on the floor up to the tippy top of his mushroom. So I'm going in object mode. I'm going to use this little measuring tool because now that it's set to length in inches, it will show me in inches. I'm just going to drag this. See, and because I've imported a model, he's currently 3,200 inches tall. That's insane. So usually what I'll do is, I see how absurdly large he is. You can press the N key to turn this on and off. You know, here's his, I think, is this, okay, his Y is his height, so I'm going to, well, let's say he's probably twice his height because he's got that, so I'm just going to shrink him. So I'm going to do scale here. Oh god, this is so much harder using that tool. I'm just going to press the S key because that's easier, and then I can just drag like that. I'm just going to scale him way the frick down. And zoom in. Selected, please. And scale him down until he's like... I'll say he's 20 inches. I'll put him at 20-ish. And oh, oops. I forgot to unscale my test of... There we go. Let's redo that. I accidentally squished him a little too much when I was trying to figure out which was the right axis for his height. I'm gonna put him at 20 inches. View, frame selected. And now I'm gonna measure him. Okay, no, he's still 20. Okay, I guess that is the Z axis for his height. He's quite large still. Still gonna scale him down some more. And this isn't going to affect your pattern export whatsoever. Well, a little bigger than that. There, okay, so let's see. There, we pretend we want him like 14 inches. Or, you know what, let's go 10. 14's a good size for a Parasect. But we're gonna go there. That's a rough estimate. He's about almost 11 inches from top of his little mushroom to his tummy. Anyways, now that I've scaled him down to a correct size that I would want him at, what you're going to want to do is, oops, you're going to want to find a piece that's going to be like flat like this piece is. Like for my Buizel, I measured his tummy. Once I scaled him to 11 inches tall and his tummy was 6.5 inches or something, I would then use the tummy piece that I export. Make sure that piece measures 6 inches long, and everything else, well, I will also scale up with it, and then that's how I kind of guesstimate a rough size for this plush toy. So let's say I want him to be, I think he's, how tall is this guy again? Almost 11 inches, 10 and a half? Sure. Let's pretend I want him to be 10 and a half inches. Well, his claw from the top down is about 8. This is very rough. This is not accurate at all. As you can see, it goes based on your screen. But this is, you know, about 8 or 9 inches. So now I'm going to go to Clip Studio. Let me add that so you can see it. It's my window capture. Okay, I just do all of my editing in Clip Studio because that's just, I'm an artist, that's really the only way I know how to function. So, with my exported little dude, my little exported thing, I'm going to drag that in here. Here it is. It's kind of hard to see. Normally I edit it before I write on it, but I wanted to see how much of it I could do in Blender. Let's make that white. Whoopsie. Okay, I'm just going to duplicate that a lot. So, oh, my units of measurement are wrong. I don't know how to change that. Inches, please. Inches, yes. Okay, now I'm just gonna copy this, put it in there. Yeah, see, they come out a little small. So I needed his claw to be about 8 inches long if I wanted to end up with a roughly 11-inch tall Parasect from tummy to top of his mushroom. And so that would make me go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Now I'm going to scale him. See, here's his claw. That's what I'm scaling based on. Going to be an absolute unit. Whoopsie. Keep messing that up. A little smaller. There, that's good enough. Now he's gigantic. I've got to make my canvas bigger so I can get all of the alternatively, you could probably do some sort of convoluted math to do this, but I don't like math, and I have image editing software, but not everybody watching this might have that, and for that I apologize. But here's roughly how big all the pieces need to be for my theoretically 11-inch tallish Parasect. Oh my! I made a mistake in that I didn't set a margin for my UV maps when I unwrapped him. I'm going to show you how to do that. I'm not going to redo all of this, but I will show you how to do that really quick because that's going to make your life so much easier. So pretend I just finished setting all of his seams, and I'm going to go to UV editing mode, and I'm going to find out where my tiny Parasect is. Whoa, God, where is he? There he is. I just pressed A and view frame selected, and then there he is. So let's pretend I just finished putting these seams in, and here's this pattern. Pretend we, we were doing all that. Well, actually, before we did all that, but pretend I just did all that. I have to UV unwrap, But when you unwrap, oh God, you can't see my blender. I'm so sorry. I'm so dumb. Okay, so pretend I didn't do all of that. Just pretend we just finished, marking seams, and now we select all of him, and we're in the UV editing tab, and we go UV, unwrap our boy. In this little thing here, I'm kind of in the way, actually. Let me scooch my little fellow dude. Right here, you're gonna want to put something here for margin. You can just scale it up a little bit so that you get some gaps. That way it's easier to, select your pieces and, edit your pattern if you need to. And then we would go to texture paint. Well, after we export it, let me do this properly. So say we unwrapped our guy, gave it some margin, we'd go to UV, export UV layout, and we would name it whatever we want. And then we would select our boy, make sure we're in our materials tab, select our material, make a new material for our pattern, make sure that this image, this yellow node that is base color by default, we will make sure it uses an image texture, and we'll make that image texture whatever UV map we just exported. And then we can go over to texture paint and draw on our funky little man here, who I can't find again because I scaled him down so greatly. View, frame selected. Where are you, my guy? Oh God. I can't find him. I've lost him to the Blender void. But, where are you, my guy? Well, whatever. You would be doing this before you scale it down anyway, so you would definitely be able to see your 2 or 3K inches tall freaking mega monstrosity here. But then you would write on this, and then you would export this again, you know, image save as, and then now I'm going to go back to Clip Studio and move myself back over here. Okay, and because I'm just going to use this, and this is where I just kind of start doing a very stupid and convoluted process that probably could be greatly simplified, is I will literally just cut out these pieces and make a new illustration that's 8.5 by 11 for printer pages, and then, you know, US letter size or whatever your printer will print at, and then I will just you know, slap them on a sheet of paper and print that. I'm just gonna, let's see, he's got, I need ×4 of this. I'm gonna write ×4. Okay, I've got those. Need his claws. Because I know his claws are basically the same, I would also just write, you know, paste that claw ×2. Wait, ×4 actually. Well, and flip. And make 2 more. Here's the bottom of his mushroom. This little sphere part doesn't matter. We're not going to see it. It can just be a straight line if we want it to be. It can all just be one straight line. You know, and this is the part where what you could also do is, if you have this and it's at the right size now, you know, let's pretend I didn't cut all this out. What you could do is also just save this as a PNG file and use something called Poster Razor. Oh, whoops. Poster Razor. I think it's like Poster Razor like that. But it might actually be OR. But I think it's Poster Razor like that. And then you could just save this image, as gigantic as it is for an 11-inch Parasect. Save this image, upload it into Poster Razor, and that will do all of this layout for you. It will just use this image, chop it up, put it on 8.5 by 11 or whatever size paper you want. You can print it out, cut it, tape it up, and that's basically how I use 3D models for a pattern. It's very convoluted and very, it's a lot of trial and error. Yeah, it's a lot of trial and error, and I've only done 2. I've done a Zafara and Buizel. But it's kind of working, so there is I can't think of the reason to do this. There's also a Blender plugin called UV to Pattern, which I have used before. But you basically have to do the same thing. You have to make sure you have enough geometry to cut out, and you have to manually mark where you want your seams for your plush toy. But if you export it using that plugin, it will save your UV map as an SVG, something that's infinitely scalable. So you could easily scale it, but I feel like I have more control with this. My Buizel has gone through 3 different iterations. Both the first 2 were just too complicated. I was thinking too 3D for it. But that's basically it. I'm sorry the video is so long. Please watch this at like ×2 speed or something. Yeehaw, partner.